music. Hey AIESEC, this is Neha Irfan, the local committee vice president from AIESEC in Karachi for the marketing and branding for the term 22 and 23. And together with us, we have.
Hello guys, this is Maaz Machyara, local committee vice president of PPR and public and EVA. Over to you, Neha.
Along with us, we have an amazing guest today with us. That is the second female president of AIESEC in Karachi that was elected after 12 years. So Qurat, how does it feel to join us today and share the platform of AIESEC with us?
Thank you, Neha and Maaz, for inviting me. This feels really good, and I'm looking forward to all the questions and advices that you guys would want to hear from me. This is the first time I've been involved in a podcast related to AIESEC, so I'm really excited.
So, Qurat, we got some amazing listeners today, and we really want if you can share us your experience, your journey, and how did you get yourself motivated to being a president, and how did you lead your team the whole year?
Okay, that's a very big question, which I think can be broken down into a lot of parts. But overall, I joined AIESEC as an exchange participant. I went to Mauritius for my exchange back in 2014, and after a 6-week exchange, I came back and I was reintegrated as an EP. And I fully became a member of AIESEC in Karachi in August 2014. And then my journey was quite long, 3.5 years almost. And it ended as me officially being the local committee president of AIESEC in Karachi. After that, I also was involved in a lot of minor things as well. But when we talk about it, मैं उसकी explanation आपको बताऊंगी ज़रूर. But overall, it was a very roller coaster kind of an experience, because you get to learn so much, and everything is so fast-paced and happening all the time that sometimes you don't even get to reflect what is happening, why it happened. So, in that scenarios, AIESEC can be a bit challenging as well, but I think it's the challenges that make the most out of your journey. So for me, it was a very, very, learnsome experience, and I would not take it back under any circumstances. I would, do it exactly as it happened, because it has honestly made me the person that I am today.
So, Qurat, what was the main thing that gets you जिससे आपको motivated रखा पूरा time? So लगा यार नहीं ये जो चीज़ है ये मतलब इससे मैं आगे बढ़ सकती हूँ, या मुझे ये चीज़ करनी है. Hurdles obviously आए होंगे as a female president after 12 years. So what was the one thing that gets you moving?
So Maaz, motivation honestly is very subjective. It varies from person to person. Talking about me specifically, every year that I spent, the motivation was different from every experience that I had. Every position came with a different objective, with a different goal. So throughout my experience, if I were to point out one thing that kept me going, is the impact that AIESEC had, because I felt how it transformed me into a person that I never imagined I could be. And when I saw that happening, I think 2 years जब गुजार दिए थे, तब मुझे जाके hit किया था कि अच्छा, इतना फर्क पड़ रहा है, in terms of my personality, in terms of how I could speak, in terms of, getting control of things that I normally would not be able to do. So that impact, when we talk about AIESEC inculcates leadership qualities in you, when you actually get to see that, so it gives you like a very refreshing feeling that this is an opportunity that I had not gotten anywhere else. So that is what kept me going, and I really believed in the impact that AIESEC was creating, because I personally do think that AIESEC का जो main product है exchange, जब तक आप exchange को नहीं experience करते, आप fully उसको understand नहीं कर सकते. That being said, I understand that there are AIESEC members जो कभी exchange पे नहीं गए हैं लेकिन AIESEC के लिए काम कर रहे होते हैं. But I do feel कि मैं जब मैं अगर अपनी LCP term की बात करूं, I was the only one within my EB members who had been on exchange, and I did feel that, you know, meri understanding and meri motivation and mera passion towards AIESEC was slightly different than people who had not gone on exchange or international exposure. So that is honestly what kept me going. And abhi when I look at any international opportunities that I see that require some sort of leadership experience, so different LCs mein hota hai, I jump at it and I apply at it, because I know that this is one thing that no other organization in the world can give me apart from AIESEC.
Okay.
Well, it was such an insightful message from the Qurat as well. Well, Qurat, you know that exchange is one of the most demanded products of AIESEC, where different people go on exchange in different countries. Can you exactly tell what happens during an exchange program?
So thank you, Neha. I went on a global volunteer exchange opportunity. I'm not sure if ये अभी भी यही नाम है इस प्रोडक्ट का. मेरे टाइम पे इसको क्या कहा जाता था, OGX.
OGV.
हाँ नहीं,
Okay.
OGX था तब OGT और OGV. I don't want to go into jargons. If there are any people who will listen to this जो AIESEC वाले नहीं होंगे, उनको शायद समझ आए. तो खैर मैं गई थी global volunteer. Global volunteer is basically a 6-week voluntary internship. And तब at that point in time sustainable development goals properly introduced नहीं हुए थे AIESEC में. So मेरा project जो था, that was based on computer/IT skills to be taught to the underprivileged people in Mauritius. It was basically a village within Mauritius. और उधर जाके we used to teach older people how to use Microsoft Word, Microsoft Excel, Skype. तब Zoom वगैरह कुछ भी नहीं होता था. तब you know ये नहीं थी softwares वगैरह. So like basic computer skills थी. तो technically मेरा education related ही था exchange. So every exchange that happens, especially global volunteer का, it's basically related to some sort of social issue that is prevailing in that particular area or that particular city. Country wise नहीं होता, because country wise issues बहुत ज़्यादा होते हैं, तो ये area wise focus होता है, especially जब city based LCs होती हैं. And what happens in that exchange is the AIESEC team connects the exchange participants with an NGO that they have partnered with. So मेरा जो exchange का जो objective था, यही computer related skills, the project name was IT for all. So they connected us with one organization. हम अपने लैपटॉप्स वगैरह खुद लेके जाते थे. वहाँ पे भी बहुत सारे older younger people आए हुए होते थे. It was a school setup, और वहाँ पे जाके हमें 4 hours a day spend करना होता था. वहाँ पे उनको you know basic skills सिखानी होती थी. Then हम basic assessment लेते थे उनसे after every session that used to end. And then फिर there used to be networking opportunities, because और LC के या और मुल्क के भी लोग आए हुए होते थे. So that was the daily routine that we had. We used to wake up at around 8, 9, 9:30 तक हम पहुंचते थे. ट्रांसपोर्ट वहाँ पे AIESEC एंड मॉरिशस ने ही हमारे लिए अरेंज की हुई थी. तो हम एक वैन में बैठ के, because the village was तकरीबन 45 minutes away. So this is essentially what happens in an exchange, that you go, you basically have your goals and you are told कि आपने इस, और इतने मुश्किल नहीं होते. So you don't require any sort of specific prerequisite कि आप इससे belong करते हैं तो ही आप ये project कर सकते हैं. Because social issues पे आप अपनी मर्जी का choose कर सकते हैं कि आपको इस specific sustainable development goal पे काम करना है. But regardless, मेरे साथ साथ जो थे projects, they were related to animal safety as well. They were related to क्या कहते हैं sexual reproductive health as well. So इस तरह के जो local committee वहाँ की होती है, वो recognize करती है कि वो issues हैं, and then they invite us. So 6 weeks का ये project था, and essentially everywhere this is the sort of pattern that takes place in all 6 weeks internships. 6 weeks finish होते हैं, then एक sort of presentation होती है कि आपने you know what you learned out of it, how much impact you created. If you can quantify it, you well and good. And then there is a farewell. बहुत सारे exchange opportunities में वो भी होता है. हमारे टाइम पे भी हुआ था And Global Village is basically where everybody from each country they have a stall, they represent their country, आप souvenirs लेके जाते हैं, and it's open for public as well, so public भी आके देखती है. So it's a very, very good opportunity for you to become a brand ambassador of your country and present things that normally people outside Pakistan would not know.
100% agreed. And सिर्फ आपकी बात सुन के दिल कह रहा है कि मैं कल चला जाऊं एक्सचेंज पे. So अच्छा, कुरत, बहुत सारे लोगों का एक क्वेश्चन होता है कि व्हाट्स द क्राइटेरिया, मतलब क्या क्राइटेरिया आप फुलफिल करो तो आप एक्सचेंज में जा सकते हो. So can you please a little bit elaborate about that as well?
All right. So there is a criteria when we as AIESECers take interviews of exchange participants. So I'm going to talk about when I was on the other side of the table when I came to give the interview. And because my older sister was also part of AIESEC, I kind of already knew what they were going to ask. But essentially, in the interviews, because then I've taken a lot of exchange interviews as well. So essentially what we look for exchange participants is a passion. Why do they want to go, regardless of where they want to go? Of course, everybody has a set goal कि हमें इस country जाना है, हमें इस country जाना है. But then, because all of us have Pakistani visas, so एक ये drawback जरूर आ जाता है कि जिस country हमें जाना होता है शायद वहाँ का visa ना लगे. So हम देखते हैं कि openness and passion to go and represent Pakistan कितना है. So हम उस तरह के questions that we ask just to gauge if they're really passionate about doing work over there, or are they just going to have some sort of exposure बाहर जाके. ठीक है, एक ये गेज होता है. Second, we really need to make sure that they represent Pakistan in a positive light, right? We don't want people going over there and saying giving a negative portrayal of our country. So we ask questions that kind of sort of give us an impression that yes, this person is passionate about Pakistan and would not say bad things about the country, regardless of how bad they are in reality. Then we also check if the person has temperament issues as well, because that is very important. Anger management एक gauge करना बहुत मुश्किल होता है interview में as well, but because then you never know कि आप ऐसी situation में हो where people say bad things because पाकिस्तान की इतनी positive image नहीं बनी हुई होती कुछ लोगों के mind में. So we did used to get some sort of क्या कहते हैं scenarios where people started fighting, and that gave a bad impression of the LC specifically. So AIESEC internationally भी जैसे सबको पता होगा है, so internationally LC का नाम भी खराब होता है कि आपकी LC से गलत किस्म के EPs आए. So ये भी एक बहुत important चीज होती है gauge करना. And then of course at the end of the day, exchange is a paid thing. You need to have money to go to exchange. So that is also something that you need to be mindful of for the EPs that they apply. कि आप जिस country select कर रहे हैं, जिस तरह का program select कर रहे हैं, उसके आपके पास funding opportunity हो. काफी सारे students ऐसे भी interviews पे show up कर देते थे because उनको लगता था AIESEC पैसे देता है, but interview के दौरान उनको पता चलता था कि oh no, AIESEC will not pay, you have to pay. And then they would back out. So ये भी चीज बहुत important होती है gauge करना कि अगर वो afford कर सकते हैं कि नहीं. This does not at all mean that we check if they are coming from a low or a high socioeconomic background. That is not our intention. Our intention is just to make them clear कि आपने pay करना है, जिस भी तरह आप pay करें. AIESEC आपको help सिर्फ facilitate करेगा to find good opportunities that can fall under your bracket, let's say. But that is also one thing that's very important.
Okay, so Qurat, you just mentioned that students usually have to, take care of their expenses. I just want to know that how it is beneficial for exchange participants, since AIESEC caters people that age from 18 to 30. But majority of our exchange participants are the undergraduate or the graduate students. So how it is beneficial for them, especially since they have to spend their own money?
So Neha, that's a very good question and a difficult one at that as well, because you're right, at the age of 13 to 18, nobody has that kind of a money, especially because Pakistani rupee against dollar महंगा ही होता जाता है with time. But देखो, AIESEC का main purpose is to inculcate cross-cultural exchange. Now, cross-cultural exchange can happen in two ways. आपके within your country भी हो सकता है, within your different countries and different cities भी हो सकता है. So local exchange भी हो सकता है, international exchange भी हो सकता है. But when we go back and we look at why AIESEC was established in the first place, it was to promote acceptance and tolerance within other people that are a part of this world. And that is one of the biggest advantage that one can get. You get to experience life on your own at a very young age. ठीक है, यहाँ पे अगर आप let's suppose नेहा और माज सुबह उठते हैं तो probably फ्रिज में खाना नाश्ता कोई उठाने वाला कुछ ना कुछ होता होगा आपके लिए. जब आप एक्सचेंज पे जाते हैं, you do everything on your own at a very young age. Going to an exchange opportunity at the age of 18 is I think it gives you a kind of a culture shock, which can be positive and benefit depending on what sort the person is. But that is essentially the exposure. And I'm not just talking about exposure, I'm talking about international exposure. International exposure is a very big deal because it teaches you to be very क्या कहते हैं, specific in terms of how you interact. You have to be very mindful of what you say because anything you say can be interpreted in a very different meaning. ठीक है, आप locally आप एक दूसरे से interact करते हैं, अच्छा यार आपको language पता होती है, आपको पता होता है कि अच्छा what a joke means, what some sort of slang means. बाहर जब आप जाते हैं तो आपको इन चीज़ों का बहुत ख्याल रखना पड़ता है. Something that is a joke between your friends may not be a joke between other friends that you make outside. So मैं अगर अपने exchange की बात करूं, I was with a lot of Indians, and there was this mindset के पाकिस्तान में, like people used to assume कि पाकिस्तान में internet नहीं है. And I would then have to tell, there was one person who was from Mexico, we used to live in the same house. So मेरे house में Chinese होते थे, Mexicans थे, Indians थे, and 2-3 different एक अल्बानिया से थी, एक मोरक्को से थी, तो हम एक combined house में रहते थे. And I kid you not, they used to think guns carry करना normal होता है. And they're like, हमने तो सुना है कि you carry guns in your pockets and there are people who can kill anyone at any time. And I used to say no, ऐसा बिल्कुल भी नहीं है. So इस तरह का एक्सपीरियंस, इस तरह की रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी जब आपके हाथ में आती है तो यू डू गेट वेरी कंसर्न्ड एंड यू हैव टू मेक श्योर दैट व्हाटएवर यू से इट इन अ मैनर दैट यू चेंज देयर माइंड्स. लोगों का माइंड बदलना एक बहुत बड़ी रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी होती है, जो कुछ लोग कर देते हैं और कुछ लोग उसको नहीं भी कर पाते. एंड दैट इज वेयर जो मैंने टेम्परामेंट की बात की थी कि जब वो माइंड नहीं चेंज कर पाते तो वो वायलेंस की तरफ या वो वर्बल अब्यूज की तरफ जाते हैं. So this is one advantage that one can get through exchange.
Okay. I think that's the information that everyone can get. It is the most important information. जिसको भी कहीं बाहर जाना होगा तो उसके लिए बहुत helpful होगी है. अच्छा कुरत, last question from my side is like in throughout the journey, AIESEC is, what one thing they should avoid and one thing they should do more? What's your advice on that?
Thank you, Maaz, for this question. What is the one thing that I would advise AIESECers to experience within their journey? This you are talking about members as well as exchange, right?
Yes, मेरा ज़्यादा जो focus है वो जैसे in a AIESEC society या GB आप बोलो general body के अंदर.
ठीक है. So for my advice to you would be कि आप अपने LC से बाहर भी देखें कि क्या opportunities हैं. So international exposure at a member level भी मिल सकता है आपको. For example, let's suppose Maaz, you've been in LCVP. You are an LCVP, right?
Yes,
Maaz is.
So आप Maaz और नेहा आप दोनों अगर आपको एटलीस्ट 1.5 years हो जाते हैं AIESEC में, आप एलिजिबल हो जाते हो फॉर अ लॉट ऑफ इंटरनेशनल अपॉर्चुनिटीज. NSTs, नेशनल सपोर्ट टीम, एक बहुत अच्छी अपॉर्चुनिटी होती है where members can apply to different LCs as well, out of Pakistan as well. आप दूसरी member committees के साथ international, let's suppose AIESEC in Tunisia, AIESEC in Malaysia, AIESEC in India, आप इनकी teams में काम कर सकते हैं. So go for exposure that you can get outside your LC as well, because that adds a lot on your profile, and आपकी networking इतनी अच्छी होती है, आपको पता चलता है कि आप दुनिया में कितने सारे लोगों के आपके contacts होते हैं. And that is something honestly I didn't do. And जब मैंने अपने पूरे ऐसे के एक्सपीरियंस में मैंने इंटरनेशनल एनएसटीज के लिए कभी अप्लाई नहीं किया, बिकॉज ए टाइम नहीं मिलता था, एंड बी मुझे इतना आइडिया नहीं था कि इसका फायदा क्या हो सकता है. तो जब मैंने दूसरों को देखना स्टार्ट किया कि यार इनकी पहुंच तो AIESEC टूनिशिया में बैठी हुई है, इनकी AIESEC कोलंबिया में बैठी हुई है, सो आई वाज जस्ट टेकन अबैक, व्हाई डिडंट आई डू दिस. So then I used to apply after my LCP term had ended. So this is one thing that I would advise AIESEC members to go for, कि आप international exposure देखो कितना मिल सकता है, and don't think about money. So I'll give you my example. मैं after my LCP experience, I went to international train the trainers in AIESEC in Istanbul. Everything related from my living to my food was paid for. मुझे सिर्फ टिकट के पैसे देने पड़े थे. So टिकट के पैसे पाकिस्तान to Turkey at that point in time was 55,000. वीजा की कॉस्ट 5,000 रुपए थी, तो ऑलमोस्ट 60,000 रुपीज मुझे पड़ा था. तो मेरा सारा रहना सहना, क्योंकि वहाँ पे फैसीज होते हैं, फैसीज का वैसे ही फ्री होता है अगर आप टीम के साथ रहते हैं. सो मैं 60,000 रुपीज में 4 दिन टर्की घूम के आ गई. एंड ऑफ कोर्स इंटरनेशनल एक्सपोजर बहुत ज़्यादा था, मेरे कनेक्शंस बने थे. So this is something that any member can do, anyone can do. Yes, you need some experience at your end, but मेरे साथ वहाँ जो फैसीज थे, बहुत से ऐसे थे जो LCPs नहीं भी थे, वो NSTs थे, वो members थे या directors थे या TLDs थे. तो आप अप्लाई कर सकते हैं. तो ये चीज़ है कि मैं ज़रूर members को कहूँगी कि ढूंढें, और इतनी अपॉर्चुनिटीज है, बल्कि मैं अभी भी कहूँगी AIESEC and Lithuania is looking for fasies for their international train the trainers. If any of you can apply, go ahead. Because उसमें आपको सिर्फ टिकट फंड करना पड़ेगा और कुछ भी फंड नहीं करना पड़ेगा. One thing that I would want AIESECers to avoid, and that is, don't go after positions. Don't apply to opportunities within your LC if you're only doing it for the name of the position. And that is a trend that does happen. People apply because, of course, everybody wants a jump up. Everybody wants to go further, right? But if you don't believe in the impact that AIESEC can create, then I think that you are not the right person to apply for that opportunity. And people would say that it's very easy for me to say because मैंने सारी positions experience की, but and I'm being very candid here, मैंने ये mind में कभी सोच के इस चीज पे apply नहीं किया कि oh my god मैं director बन गई, oh my god मैं LCP के लिए कर रही हूँ. I don't know if any of you know Zaki Heather Behan from AIESEC.
Yes, we know him.
Like everyone knows him.
Everybody knows him, yeah.
Yeah.
So Zaki was the one who used to tell me कि कुरत apply क्यों नहीं करती हो, and I used to say कि ये काम बहुत ज़्यादा है, मैं नहीं कर सकती, मुझे बहुत डर लगता है. And every position that I've ever applied for, it was his mentorship that was motivating me. And वो मुझे कहते थे कि कुरत है तुम में, कर लो, तुम काम बहुत अच्छा करोगी. And that used to motivate me कि yes, I can do the work regardless if I have the position there or not. And that was my main motivation, and that I would tell members कि ठीक है position नहीं मिली कोई बात नहीं, आप eventually अपना experience करें, profile build करें, वो position eventually आपके सामने आएगी. ठीक है, आपको किसी तरह के favoritism वगैरह या कुछ करने की need नहीं होगी. And one thing more that I would want AIESECers to avoid is don't let the position get to your head. That is also something that I've seen happen so much within AIESEC, that you forget why you were there in the first place. You forget the essence of it. You forget why you are a part of this huge movement. And आप यकीन करो, इतनी बड़ी movement है ना, इतनी बड़ी AIESEC movement है कि आपको पता नहीं होता कि आप उसका कितना minor part play कर रहे हैं. And for that realization, you have to separate yourself from the position and the work. So don't let any position get to your head where you feel कि मैं ये हूँ इसलिए मैं ये कर सकता हूँ. No, you can still make an impact regardless of the fact that you're a member or a director or a TLD or an EP. So
Well,
that is something I would
yes.
advise people to
That's
avoid.
amazing. And I guess we all need a friend like Zaki Haider Bihan. So, yes, these were some insightful things that Qurat has let us know. And I think and I believe that this is going to help a lot the exchange participants and the AIESEC members. And it feels so nice to have such a thoughtful session today, Qurat. And if we just ask you, can you just describe your whole AIESEC journey just in just one word?
In one word, Neha,
Yes.
इतना मुश्किल है ये सबसे मुश्किल सवाल है इस एग्जाम का.
So we have only 1 minute now and recording call end हो जाएगी इस वजह से.
Yes. So it's like a rapid
one
fire.
word अगर मैं describe करूँगी अपने AIESEC experience को, so I would say it was challenging yet beautiful. Sorry,
Yeah.
I'm using 3
Perfect.
words, but
So okay. Thank you so much
so
for listening
much
to the yes. Thank you so much for listening
inviting me.
to the first podcast from AIESEC in Karachi. We appreciate you all for taking out time for us and being a part of this journey. And thank you so much, Qurat, for joining us today. So signing off as Neha Irfan.
Signing
Thank
away,
you,
Maaz
Maaz.
Machyara.
Thank you, Maaz. Thank you for ensuring that I, flashbacks आए मुझे सारा अपना exchange describe करते हुए. So I'm so grateful and I look forward to any more interactions that AIESEC in Karachi can have. It has been my home LC and I have utmost loyalty for it.